everyone, welcome back to the channel. In our previous episode, we compared the overall tax systems of Indonesia and Australia. Today, we are taking it one step further. We are going to discuss one of the most important topics in international taxation, the Indonesia-Australia Tax Treaty, also known as the Double Tax Agreement or DTA. If you invest overseas, receive dividends from another country, own property abroad, run an international business, or simply want to understand how cross-border transactions works, this episode is suited for you. So, let's get started. First of all, what is a tax treaty? A tax treaty is an agreement between two countries that aims to avoid double taxation, prevent tax evasion and tax avoidance, and determine which country has the primary right to tax certain types of income. Now, let's look at some of the most common types of income covered by the treaty. First, dividends. Under Indonesia's domestic tax law, dividends paid to non-residents are generally subject to a 20% withholding tax. However, under the Indonesia-Australia Tax Treaty, the rate is generally reduced to a maximum 50%. Next is interest. This includes interest from bank deposits, bonds, and intercompany loans. Instead of the normal domestic withholding tax, the treaty limits the withholding tax to 10%. The same concept also applies to royalties. Payments for software licenses, copyrights, patents, trademarks, and other intellectual property rights are generally subject to a treaty rate of 10%, although certain types of royalties may be taxed at 15%. Another important concept is the permanent establishment or PE, known in Indonesia as a bentuk usaha tetap or BUT. This determines whether a foreign company becomes taxable in another country. For example, suppose an Australian company provides services to customers in Indonesia. If it only sells products remotely and has no permanent establishment in Indonesia, its business profits are generally taxable only in Australia. However, if it opens a branch office, factory, workshop, management office, or operates through certain constructions or mining projects in Indonesia, it may create a permanent establishment. Once a permanent establishment exists, Indonesia generally has the right to tax the profits attributable to that PE, generally subject to a treaty rate of 15%. So, simply earning income from another country does not automatically mean that country can tax all of your business profits. The existence of a permanent establishment is a key factor. Now, let's move to one of the most common questions investors ask. What happens if I already paid tax overseas? Do I have to pay tax again in Indonesia? The answer is possibly yes, but you may also receive a foreign tax credit. Income from property or real estate is taxed in the country where the property is located. Therefore, rental house in Australia is taxed first in Australia. If the owner is an Indonesian tax resident, the income must still be reported in the Indonesian tax return or SPT. Australian tax paid can be credited as a foreign tax credit or Article 24 income tax credit. Foreign tax credit. Indonesian tax resident with Australian rental properties must declare the income in Australia and pay Australian income tax at the applicable non-resident rate. An Indonesian tax resident with Australian rental property must also declare this income in Indonesia and is subject to Indonesian progressive income tax rates on the worldwide income base. The double tax agreement provides a foreign tax credit mechanism allowing Indonesian residents to offset Australian income tax paid against Indonesian tax liability. Deductions for mortgage interest, repairs, depreciation, and other expenses are available in Australia. Indonesian residents can offset Australian rental losses against other Australians' income. Article 24 tax credit doesn't have a separate tax rate. The applicable rate follows Indonesia's income tax rules. However, the credit is limited using the following formula: maximum foreign tax credit equals foreign income divided by total taxable income multiplied by Indonesia's income tax payable. The tax credit that can be utilized is the lowest of foreign tax paid, maximum allowable tax credit, Indonesia's tax payable on the income. To apply treaty rates, a tax residency certificate or certificate of domicile is required. The beneficial owner must be clearly identified. Let's see how this works in a practical example. Suppose Andy is an Indonesian tax resident. He works in Indonesia and earns an annual salary of 300 million rupiah. At the same time, he owns a rental property in Australia. After deducting allowable expenses such as repairs, insurance, and agent fees, his net rental income is 170 million rupiah. Since the property is located in Australia, Australia has the primary right to tax that rental income. Let's assume Andy pays 51 million rupiah of income tax in Australia. At this point, many people think the tax obligation is finished, but that's not the case. Because Andy is still an Indonesian tax resident, Indonesia taxes him on his worldwide income. That means the Australian's rental income must also be reported in his Indonesian annual income tax return. Now, here's where the foreign tax credit becomes important. Indonesia allows taxpayers to claim a tax credit for foreign tax already paid. However, the credit is not automatically equal to the amount of tax paid overseas. Instead, Indonesia applies a limitations of formula under Article 24 of the Income Tax Law. In Andy's case, although he paid 51 million rupiah of Australian tax, the maximum foreign tax credit allowed in Indonesia is only around 29.6 million rupiah. The remaining Australian tax cannot be claimed as an additional credit. After applying the foreign tax credit and deducting the Indonesian tax already withheld from his salary, Andy still needs to pay approximately 11.9 million rupiah when filing his Indonesian annual tax return. This is one of the biggest misconceptions in international taxation. Many people believe that paying tax overseas means they no longer have any tax obligations in Indonesia. In reality, if you remain an Indonesian tax resident, foreign incomes must still be reported, and the foreign tax credits simply helps prevent double taxation within the limits allowed by Indonesia's tax law. Now, let's look at another example. Suppose Andy sells his Australian property the following year and makes a capital gain of 500 million rupiah. Because the property is located in Australia, Australia has the first right to tax the capital gain. Assume Australia imposes tax of 150 million rupiah. Again, because Andy remains an Indonesian tax resident, the capital gain must also be reported in Indonesia. After calculating the Indonesian tax liability and applying the Article 24 limitation, only about 112.2 million rupiah can be claimed as a foreign tax credit. As a result, Andy still has additional Indonesian tax payable when filing his annual tax return, approximately 23.8 million rupiah. From the example above, we can see that owning overseas investment property is not only about potential returns, but also about understanding the tax consequences. Many taxpayers assume that once tax is paid in the country where the asset is located, their tax obligation is fully settled. However, for Indonesian tax residents, foreign income must still be reported in the annual tax returns or SPT, and special rules apply regarding foreign tax credits under Article 24. Finally, remember that treaty benefits are not granted automatically. To apply the reduced treaty withholding tax rates, taxpayers generally need to provide a valid certificate of tax residence and satisfy the beneficial ownership requirements. Otherwise, the domestic withholding tax rates may still apply. Therefore, proper tax planning from the beginning is very important. This includes asset ownership structure, tax calculation in the source country, utilizations of tax treaties, and foreign tax credit mechanism in Indonesia. If you have any investment, properties, or income sources overseas and want to ensure tax compliance while optimizing your tax position legally, we are ready to assist you from analysis and calculations to cross-border tax reporting. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more educational content on taxations and international business. See you in the next video.